Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Indianapolis Motor Speedway for round number 6 of the Fast Action Racing Series, right here at the beautiful, beautiful again, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Here we go. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, welcome. And we are now in round number 6 of this season, and we are expecting a lot of really good racing today. As these cars take on this 2.5 mile track. And just to jump into it here, let's take a look at our current point standings. We currently have Dan Atkins on top with the 504 points. And as you see, the 87 just drifting through the corner coming out of turn number 4, coming down this long front straightaway. Uh, so we have Dan Atkins right in front of Dakota LaRue and that number 88 Grease Monkeys Motorsports machine, followed by Jordan Martin, Brad Paul Sr., and Kian Fry, and rounding out your top 5. Cody Majoric, Jordan Novak, Eddie Hawks, Andrew Schneider, Tom Johnson round out your top 10, followed by Jacob Van, Carl Guile, Joshua Lott, Drew Rack, Lucas Edwards round out your top 15. And then we have Billy Wise. Here we go. Billy Wise, Jeffrey Engel, Johnny Berardi, Andrew Deemer, and Ron Fitting round out your top 20. And then you have Chris Robarge, Stephen Kiefer, Matthew Ball, Christopher Williams, Christian Boisclair round out your number 25. And then David Marinsky, Matthew Stern, and Derek Brown will round out your field. Today we are expecting a lot of really good racing here. As we take a look here once again at that number 87. Looks like he's just having a grand old ball, and that is Lucas Edwards in that South Point Toyota. As you see him coming through turns 1 and 2. Oh, give me one moment here, guys. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, Here we go. We are going now to transfer over into our qualifying session. And we are going to see here. Dakota LaRue is going to be one of the first ones out. And let's go ahead and jump over to Dakota LaRue in that number 88 Busch Lights Toyota Supra as he comes down here and to enter into turn number 3 and head down into turn number 4 for the first time. Other than Daytona, this is probably the second largest circuit that these guys have been on. So it will take them just about 50 seconds to complete a single lap. And I have spoken with Dakota LaRue earlier this week, and he is excited and hoping that I get to talk to him at the end of this event with him bringing in his second win of the season here at Indianapolis. So it's going to be really exciting to see what Dakota LaRue can do today in that number 88 Toyota Supra as he enters turn number 4 for the first time. Still has two more qualifying two qualifying laps, and he will post a lap of 54.14. That puts him on top of the charts for the time being. Jordan Novak will come in with a 54.41, puts him second. Uh, as you see, these cars are now starting to put down some lap times. Once again, Chris Robarge in that number 9 Chevrolet coming in second with the 54.33. He is going to be one of the guys to watch today as well. Every time he has shown up, he has been very strong no matter what track we go to. Last week's winner, Jordan Novak, in that number 8, currently sits third on the charts with the 54.41, as I said. This is the final lap here for Dakota LaRue. And Chris Robarge puts down the same lap time as Dakota LaRue with the 54.14 as Dakota LaRue comes out of turn number 3, but he got loose, so that might not do it for him as he goes ahead and backs down coming out of turn number 4. Let's take a look here at Jacob Van in that number 1 Penske Chevrolet. A little bit squirrely there coming out of turn number 4. And he will put down a time of 54.6 as he comes through turns 1 and 2. Very slippery it looks for these cars. Uh, every car we have seen so far, they have been getting pretty loose. All of these cars have been getting a major upgrade on this past season's upgrade or update, I should say, on iRacing with these cars getting the newest tire model And so these cars will be acting a lot different than what we have been seeing as he gets sideways once again at a turn number 4. Come to take the white flag for his third qualifying lap. He cannot better his time and he slips up the track coming through turns 1 into the wall. He goes, and that will end Jacob Van's run. We have Cody Majoric in that number 28 machine as he gets loose there and he gets down onto the grass there, and that's not going to do him any good for this lap. And he completes lap number 2. And let's see if he can do anything better on this third lap here. So far, we only have 11 guys taken to the charts. As you see Majoric coming through turns 3 down the short chute over to 4, getting loose as he's throwing the car down into the corner here in 4, and he almost touches the wall coming out of turn number 4 down the front straightaway here for the checkered flag. Can he best his lap time? No, he cannot. He is going to sit in that number 8 spot with a 54.51. And that looks like everybody that we see here. So while we are now sitting here waiting, let's take a quick look. Well, looks like that might not happen. We are now gridding. All right. So let's go and take a quick look at our race info. Like I said, this is a 2.5-mile track called Indianapolis Motor Speedway. These guys will be going for 60 laps here. And as I said, these cars are going to be loose, not tight as normal than what we have been seeing with the old tire model on these racing machines. So we are going to be running, like I said, 60 laps around this 2.5-mile track. Indianapolis Motor Speedway is one of the oldest racing circuits in the United States, if not the oldest. And they have ran here for at least 109 years, which is a very incredible feat. As you see, the pace car starts to pull off. Let's go ahead and take a look at our starting grid presented by Logan's Removal Solutions. We have Dan Atkins starting first with a 54.128, followed by Dakota LaRue in his number 88 machine. Chris Roberge will start on the inside of row number 2. On the outside of him, you see Lucas Edwards. Ron Fitting and Jordan Novak, they will be your row 3. Row 4, you see Jordan Martin and Cody Majoric. Row number 5, you have Jacob Van and Matthew Stern. And row number 6, we have Jeffrey Engel and Brad Quall Sr. as these 12 competitors come down the back straightaway as we are going to get ready to take the green flag for round number 6 here. If these paints are not correct, I do apologize in advance to these drivers, as I know that we have been having some issues with trading paints a little bit. But we will do with what we've got as the field comes out of turn 4, looking for the green flag for the very first time. And here they come, getting ready to take the green flag. And Barney waves that green flag, and they are off for 60 laps here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, with Dan Adkins sticking to the bottom there as he gets a good jump on Dakota LaRue. But Dakota is trying to come back strong on the outside already. As you see, Chris Roberge getting on the inside of Dakota LaRue for that number 2 spot. As they come down the back straightaway, side by side they come. As the number 9 gets in front of Dakota LaRue, and now they run single file coming into turn 4 for the very first time. These cars are just running single file, as you see here, as they are snaking down this front straightaway. Let's come back here and take a look at number 13 of Jordan Martin out of Bowling Green, Kentucky. As somebody in that number 4 machine, Matthew Stern, gets sideways out of turn number 2. We have things really settled early on here, which we do like to see, as 60 laps is a very long time here at Indianapolis. And here comes Chris Roberge looking to the inside of Dan Atkins, wanting to take over that top spot. And we have a car in the wall. I believe that was the number 8 of Jordan Novak, last week's winner. Seems like he is not missing or skipping a beat after getting to the wall there out of turn number 2. And here comes Chris Roberge, going to lead lap number 3. Like I said, we are going to keep our eye on the number 9 car as he leads this field. So far, everywhere we have gone, he has been very strong and always dominant, but he has not been able to make it work to see that checkered flag at the end. We are hoping that he can do that today and become our 6th different driver. And it looks like we have issues with Matthew Stern. Let's go back here and take a look and see what happens as he comes out of turn number 1. He hits the wall on the outside, then inside, and comes to a screeching halt in that number 4 machine. as he has a blown engine and he does tow back to the pits to get his quick repair. And as you see here, Chris Robarge continues to lead this field. I do have to update these bonus points myself, as unfortunately this is something that iRacing does not allow us to do just yet. So give me just a moment here while I make a couple adjustments here. As you see Chris Robarge continue to leading this field. Here we go. And let's take a look back a little bit further here in the back of the pack. As you see Ron Fitting getting sideways, and here comes Lucas Edwards to the inside of him, as we see a big time movement behind these guys for the P7 spot of Jordan Novak, Jordan Martin, Jacob Mann, and Brad Cross Sr. As Novak once again gets into the wall, he has got to be very careful if he wants to see the end of this race, with him constantly tapping that wall, exiting the corner. We do see that Matthew Stern and that number 4 Chevrolet return back to the racetrack. And things are very settled down here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway as they start to work lap number 8 of this event. And Jordan Martin is, oh, those two cars of Jordan Martin and Jacob Van, they both got loose out of turn number 1. It looks like these drivers are going to have a big issue this race, as you see first and seconds here of Robarge and Adkins continuing to run very fast laps. As Adkins tries to make a run here, let's see if he makes that dive down onto the inside of Roberge, or is he just going to sit there and push him? And that's exactly what he does in that Freightliner machine. He says, no, not yet. It is still a little too early to make any kind of moves like that, as they working only lap number 9 of this 60 lap event. We have these guys spread out, and they are all looking like they are in their own individual battles. As you see here, once again, Dan Atkins trying to get on the inside of Chris Robarge, coming out of turn number 4, coming down this front straightaway. Jumping back here to Dakota LaRue and Lucas Edwards for that number 3 spot. And then you have Ron Fittings and Cody Majoric just kind of hanging out by themselves. And then you come back here to Jordan Martin, and he's in a battle with Jordan Novak and Jacob Van for that number 7 spot. And then further back, you see here we have Jeffrey Engel and Brad Quall Sr. Oh, and we have trouble for the number 88 of Dakota LaRue as he pulls his Toyota. Let's go back and take a look here as we do have the caution out for the first time. Let's go back here and take a look and see what happened to the number 88 of Dakota LaRue out of turn number 2. And it looks like they are just running. Oh, Edwards just got into the side of him a little bit, thinking that he was clear, and he almost kept it off of the inside wall, but he did get some damage there. This is very unfortunate for Daytona race winner Dakota LaRue as he got somewhat a little bit of help coming out of turn number 2. As we catch back up here with Chris Roberge in that number 9 Canada Chevrolet as these guys are looking for pit road, and here they come. As you see the cars passing by our pit lane camera. And here they come to get service uh, by their crew, and Novak misses his pit stall and hits the inside wall, and he's still a little too far to the left. He has to continue to back up to try and get service done on his machine, and he will end up losing spots here as the crew gets to work on the left side of that machine, and he does finally pull away, and we see Dakota LaRue getting service on his Toyota Supra. And we see here Brad Qualls Sr. and Matthew Stern, Cody Majork all getting service on their machines. And it looks like Jacob Van will gain his two bonus points for leading a lap here. Under this caution, and he's going to come down and forfeit that, and that's going to turn it over to Engel next week when we do go to Eldora Speedway to get down and dirty in the NASCAR Craftsman trucks. Engel will be joining me up here in the booth as he does struggle a little bit from what he has told me on the dirt. So he's going to elect to sit out of that event and use it as one of his drop weeks these competitors do get. And these drivers are now doubled up here on the back straightaway once again, as these drivers are looking for the green flag this time by. And Fred will bring that iRacing safety vehicle back down to pit road. And your lucky dog for this caution was Matthew Stern in that number 4, who we saw have major issues out of turn number 1 into that short chute, and he had to tow and get repairs done on that machine. So now he is back only one lap down. So he is not out of this race yet, as we still have plenty of laps to go. When they take the green flag, they will have 47 laps remaining in this event, as Engel brings them down into the Geico restart zone. And they are off, as you see them all getting a little swirly on the start. And Engel gets an incredible jump on Chris Roberge in that number 9. The field coming out of turn number 1 into turn number 2. The number 87 of Lucas Edwards trying to get on the end. Whoa, what a incredible move by Chris Roberge to take over that top spot from Jeffrey Engel as they start heading down into turn number 3. Engel is staying to the outside, so as he lets Lucas Edwards in that number 87 South Point Toyota Supra go around as well. And now, once again, Chris Robarge will bring the field onto the front straightaway as your race leader. And we see calamity happening behind them, with Jordan Martin in that number 13 machine getting stuck behind Jeffrey Engel in that number 89, as we see drivers just getting loose out of these corners. And the 28 got down into the grass there. And that was Cody Majoric. Something that you normally don't see out of him, having so many mistakes early on in a race. And Engel stays high to let these faster drivers by. And I am showing, and Engels got into the wall again and then gets rear-ended by the number 31 out of turn number 4. And it looks like we have Jacob Van, who entered the pits. Let's take a look here and see what's going on, as he is making his way down to his crew. I am not seeing that he is getting service on that machine. We are very unsure of what is happening with him, as we come back to the action out here on the speedway, as we are taking a look here at Cody Majoric in that number 28 machine. And everybody is racing hard behind him, beginning with Jordan Novak in that black rifle. And as he hits the wall again out of turn number 1, and that was heavy, heavy contact as Ron Fitting gets on the inside of him. And here comes the 28 of Cody Majoric as well. And Dan Atkins trying to get around the number 8 machine now. Way up in the track, into the wall again. Jordan Novak is struggling big time out of these corners. And we do see that Jacob Van has re entered the track. We are very unsure of what happened there, but now we have two cars one lap down. As we see here, the 28 of Cody Majork once again getting into the grass, exiting turn two. Dakota LaRue is continuing to work his way back up through the field after that massive hit or that uh, spin that brought out our first caution of the night. And he is back up into that number 5 spot as he is tracking down the number 3 of Ron Fitting directly in front of him. Let's go back to the front of this field as Chris Roberge and Lucas Edward are continuing to duke it out for this top spot. We are seeing a phenomenal performance out of both of these drivers, and they are just absolutely pulling away with a 3-second lead on the number 13 of Jordan Martin back in that third spot. These guys are in their own zip code. Oh, and a big loose out of turn number 4 for Jordan Martin, and it looks like we have the number 4 coming down pit road of Matthew Stern. Let's go back and take a look of the number 13 as he exited turn number 4. We will go ahead and ride on board with him coming out of turn number 4. As he comes out and gets major loose, able to save it, keep it straight. That was a very incredible save by Martin. As we catch back up with these drivers trying to get on the inside of that 87 of Edwards, while we were taking a look to what happened to the number 13, something happened with the 87. Let's go back to the 87 and see what happened to him. Because he was just about 3 seconds on all these drivers. And we have found what has happened. So let's go ahead and come back and take a look. Exiting turn number 2, he got into the wall and sideways. He keeps it straight, drives through the grass. That was a really big save by the number 87 of Lucas Edwards in that South Point Toyota Supra, as he is now starting to make progress once again on our race leader of Chris Roberge, who is 4.5 seconds up. Now the question, as he gets loose out of turn number 3, now the question here will remain, can Lucas Edwards catch him as they start lap number 23? As we see Ron Fitting gets on the inside of Jordan Martin. And here comes Dakota LaRue looking on the inside of Martin as well. into turn number two, and they touch a little bit coming out of turn number two, and side by side they come down this back straightaway, and LaRue will just tuck up back behind Martin as they enter turn number three. 4 seconds is now the gap between Roberge and Edwards as we focus here on these drivers. And while we are doing this little bit of single file action, we would like to take a really quick moment and thank our sponsors, B&L Labor Services, Logan's Removal Solutions, Racing Paradise Podcast. You can find them on wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And Xbox One Esports Racing Community, covering league racing for championships. We want to thank every single one of those sponsors for making this event happen. As we come back here and take a look at Dakota LaRue, now up in that fourth spot, slowly trying to gain back on these drivers that he has lost spots to. Coming down this long back straightaway, entering turn number three once again. He is not able to make any kind of progress on that number three car of Ron Fitting. Let's take a look here, and that is the gap between your race leader and Lucas Edwards in that number two spot. He is now 3.6 seconds ahead of the entire field. As we see Jeffrey Engel coming down pit road to get service on his number 89 Chevy Camaro. This is a very, very long pit road. It feels like a lifetime when you're coming down to get service under green flag conditions, as you see his crew getting working on the left and right side of that machine. Let's take a look here. Alrighty. Let's take a look here, because it looks like Ingles has possibly come back down pit road, which he is now sitting on pit road, and he is pulling away once again. I think that was possibly for possibly speeding, which causes him to come back down pit road once again. Lucas Edwards in that number 87. Big time loose out of turn number 4 and saves it once again. I think these drivers are getting ready for next week at Eldora with the way these machines getting sideways out of these corners. And we have Jordan Novak now down here on pit road to get service done on his Black Rifle Chevy Camaro. And I apologize once again for that. As we take a look once again back here on this action, Dakota LaRue still trying to put that pressure on Ron Fitting for that number 3 spot as he gets a little sideways out of turn number 1. And they have Jordan Novak coming out of the pits. Going to try to blend in with these two drivers here as we jump back here to our race leader of Chris Roberge as he exits turn number 4. And we are now halfway as Dakota LaRue hits the wall coming out of turn number 4. Halfway for Chris Roberge. Still, we have a very long way to go in this event. This 2.5 mile track. It may be fast, but again, 50 and the 28. Cody Major gets down in that grass once again. You know, I think I'm just going to have to say it again, guys. They are getting ready for next week at Eldora, which you can see right here on iCast Racing Network next Monday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time as he gets loose once again out of turn number 4. And so you see here, we have Jordan Novak going on the inside of the 87 of Lucas Edwards. Now, this is not for that number 2 spot. Novak does have fresh tires, and this here will just show how much of a difference brand new tires are versus old tires at this racetrack. As you see here, Ron Fitting coming down pit road from Sumter, South Carolina. Let's take a look here at the number 91, Dan Atkins out of Milford, Indiana. And that number 91 Freightliner Flying Pilot J. If you have a Pilot Flying J anywhere by you, I would recommend getting a hold of their house brew coffee. It is so delicious. I would definitely highly recommend you going to take a look and getting some of that delicious coffee from them. Cody Majork in that number 28 is coming down pit road. Brad Quall Sr. from Galesburg, Illinois, and that number 31 Logitech Chevy Camaro. Just chilling out back there in that number 6 spot now. Let's come up here to Chris Roberge and that number 9 Canada sponsored Chevy. He is out of Courtenay, British Columbia, Canada. And he is the nicest Canadian you will ever meet. Yes, sirree. But don't look now because here comes Lucas Edwards slowly reeling him back in. And Dakota LaRue out of Wilkes finally got around Ron Fittings. I believe he might have pitted. Yep, he did pit. So Ron Fittings is back in that number 7 spot. Yeah, we just talked about him. How about that? Take a look here back at Jordan Martin in that number 13 paid to pass Ford Mustang out of Bowling Green, Kentucky. And it looks like once again Chris will stay out. It looks like Chris is waiting for the last possible moment to fill up to make sure he can get to the end of this race, as they will have 24 laps to go when they come back to the yard of bricks. Nice and steady, calls Chris Roberge as he exits turn number 4. Let's go ahead and ride on board with him for a lap here as he comes out of turn number 1. Lifts a little bit. And down this incredibly long straightaways. As he lifts and gets on the brakes into turn number 3. Rolls back into the gas. And gets off the gas once again into turn number 4 and rolls back in it. And that right there is one lap around this 2.5 mile speedway of Indianapolis. Let's take a look back here at Dan Atkins and that number 91. He was your race lead, your pole sitter for this event. And here they come on the front straightaway. 23 laps to go. as we continue to sit here and watch these drivers lap around this track. And as you see here, Chris Robarge continues to lead this field. Dan Atkins. He will get another bonus point here for starting on the pole. And currently at this point, let's see if I can. Let's find out here if we can see. As your race leader, he will stay out once again. As he comes through turns 1 and down to turn number 2. And it looks like Lucas Edwards did have a small issue getting out of turn number 2 once again. And he lost just about 3.5 seconds to your race leader. 19 laps to go, and Lucas Edwards will bring. Did he just? I think he just hit that wall. We are just going to go back real quick and take a look. Does it look like he did? Yes, indeed, he did bounce off the pit wall. He will need to get service once again, possibly use that fast repair on his machine. As you see, Edwards now leaving pit road, and he will lose some spots for that costly mistake, and that mistake right there might have just costed him again. As you yes, no, he is fine. He can use that runoff like he did there. Chris Robarge comes out of turn number 2 down this long straightaway once again. Jordan Martin makes his way down onto pit road to get service on his Ford Mustang. It Currently looks like everybody except your race leader of Chris Roberge has made their final pit stop. This pit stop is going to have to be flawless for Chris Roberge, as Ron Fitting is about 34 seconds behind him, and we will have to see. We'll have to see where Chris comes out. Remember, while these guys are hot lapping on fresh tires, Chris Roberge is a little bit slower. There is a 2 second speed difference between. And here comes your race leader, Chris Roberge, coming into pits. Let's keep an eye out on this number 3 machine of Ron Fittings as he comes through. Number turns 3 and 4 now and starts heading down this long straightaway. Question is, will Chris be able to get out in time? It does not look like he will be able to. And Ron Fitting will take over that number 1 spot. This absolutely changes everything. Ron Fitting, 14 laps to go, but he needs to watch his mirror as he sees that number 91 of Dan Atkins keeps getting bigger and bigger in his rear view mirror, and that is not a good sign. When your race leader Chris Robarge came back out on track, he is back just about 11 seconds. Now, the question is, will he have enough time to catch the leaders, knowing he is fast? We will have to wait and see. He is now 15 seconds back, I believe. So your race leader is exiting turn number 1 now, and he is still just coming down the front straightaway across the yard of bricks. He has just about a half a lap to gain in only 13 or 12 and a half laps now. I am not sure if Chris Roberge can do that. We may need to have a caution for him to be able to catch these guys. And we are going to continue to watch Ron Fitting get tracked down by that number 91 of Dan Atkins and that Freightliner Camaro. But don't look now. Oh, that is Jordan Martin. He is not your number 3 spot. He is actually in 7th, 1 lap down, as he's looking to the inside of the number 91. How much of a role will this play, and how long will the number 3 Ron Fittings, is he going to try to continue to leave Martin in between himself and Dan Atkins? And that right there will answer my question. And here comes the 87 on the inside of Lucas Edwards for that number 2 spot. And right behind, and here he comes looking for the race lead across the yard of bricks. 11 laps to go for now for Edwards and that number 87 South Point Toyota, as Dan Atkins is now looking on the inside of the number 3 of Ron Fittings. He gets him cleared out of turn number 2, and now we are watching Lucas Edwards start to pull away from the number 91 of Dan Atkins. Let's come back here and look at Roberge. He is now 9 seconds back from your race leader. If he can come back and win this race, this will be a very incredible feat. As you see, he is tracking down Cody Majoric, which is 2 cars in front of him. If he wants to catch the race leaders, he is going to have to not waste his time passing any cars. As you see, he's now looking on the inside of Brad Quall Sr. in that number 31 Logitech Chevrolet. And your race leaders are now going into turn number 3 out of 3. Almost they touch, but here, oh, that's Jordan Martin. He is not, that's right. He is fighting to get his lap back. So I apologize. That red machine of Dan Atkins is watching that black and yellow machine pull away, and that is not what he wants to see. Robarge now less than 8 seconds behind your race leader. If he can continue to make up 1 second, 1 second, that is all he needs. We are going to go to our ticker, and we are going to show you the top 5 with the last lap. Edwards ran a 55.7. Roberge ran more than a half a second faster. And there is Roberge in the top of your screen. Let's see here once again. That time Edwards ran a faster lap time. Let's continue to watch this. We are watching the number 9 up at the top, that 7.5 seconds, as we are watching your race leader, the number 87 of Lucas Edwards, exit turn number 4. 7 laps to go. Robarge is now just a half a straightaway behind your race leader, as they are catching up to the number 13 of Jordan Martin. And here comes the 8 of Jordan Novak looking to get his lap back on your race leader. 6.5 seconds back. is Roberge. 6 seconds back. Roberge is coming, guys, and he is coming fast. 6 laps to go. That lap alone, he made up more than 1 second on your race leader. But he still has traffic in between himself and your race leader. Five laps to go this time by. As you see, oh, big, huge trouble, and we have a caution out on the speedway. There is no caution for this incident for Cody Majoric. Let's go back here and take a look and see what happened as he exited turn number 3. He got in the wall, hit the wall really hard, and came to a screeching halt at the entrance of turn number 4. Let's go back to the racing action. Chris Robarge now still 5.5 seconds back, but he is up to P3 at the moment. I think the time is ticking. That is the difference between Chris Robarge and your race leader of Lucas Edwards. 3 or 5, little less than 5.5 seconds back. He is, I don't think he can do this. I do not think he can catch him. 3 laps to go this time by for your race leader. 1 second separates Dan Atkins and the number 9 of Chris Robarge. Let's see here if Chris Robarge can catch and pass that number 91 of Dan Atkins for that number 2 spot. A little less than 1 second in between as they come through 3 or turns 4 once again. 2 laps to go for your race leader of Lucas Edwards. And it looks like Chris Robarge has stalled out to just about a half a second behind Dan Atkins in that number 91 Freightliner machine. But he's not going to give up just yet, Robarge. And here he comes, less than 0.2 seconds separating the two. And here comes Robarge, possibly going to look to the inside, exiting or entering turn number 3, which he does. And Atkins just stays high for Robarge as he takes over that number 2 spot. Barney has that white flag flying up in the air for your race leader of Lucas Edwards and that number 87 South Point Toyota Supra as he comes through turns 1 for the final time, turn 2 for the final time. 4.5 seconds back to second place of Robarge. That is the difference. 2 more corners to go. For your race leader, Lucas Edwards, as he marches his way through turns 4 for the final time. Has a beautiful exit coming down this long straightaway to the yard of bricks. Ladies and gentlemen, your race winner, Lucas Edwards, in that number 87 South Point Toyota Supra for his first victory of the season, followed by Chris Robarge in that number 9 Canada Chevy Camaro, and followed by Dan Atkins in that number 91 Chevy Camaro. That was a incredible run by your race leader, Lucas Edwards. And let's see if we can get a word with your race winner, Lucas Edwards. Lucas Edwards, do you have a copy, sir?
Ooh,
Lucas, what an incredible run today out of that South Point Toyota. What were your thoughts seeing how long possibly the eventual race winner would have been of the number 9 machine?
actually had me worried, but glad we had enough traffic to get through and pick. I thought I messed it up on pit stops there too. So
Yeah, we saw on that final pit stop that you did hit that inside wall coming down to the pits. And luckily, you had that fast repair in your arsenal to use on that final pit stop. What was your thoughts coming into this race, and was the track completely different than what you anticipated after the iRacing build?
yeah, the track was a lot different. It was extremely slick compared to what we had tested. Uh, yeah,
Alrighty. Congratulations on your win here today, Lucas. Let me go ahead and throw you back up. Ladies and gentlemen, your race winner, Lucas Edwards. Let's get Chris Robarge down here. Chris Robarge, do you have a copy, sir?
Yes, I do.
Chris, yet again, oh so close. What were your thoughts
Yes.
after that final pit stop?
Well, I had to pit because I just were gonna run short, so I just kept going until I get close to almost empty. Then I just pitted. I shouldn't got tires, but I should have. But it's all good. I'm moving up slowly. I was third last time, so I moved up second, and maybe hopefully I get a win next week.
Next week, we do head over to Eldora for some dirt racing in the pickup trucks. Are you looking forward to that event? And are you any good on the dirt?
I'm not the best at dirt, but I can handle it. It's mostly almost like you're raw wall riding around the, from your back end on the going sideways and just hopefully there's enough grip up there.
Absolutely. And I thought, I don't know about you, but I thought I was watching a dirt race today with how much you guys were sliding out of these corners. Did you feel like you were racing on dirt today?
This feels like I'm racing on ice rink there. It's slick on some certain corners there. You really had to take it easy on the throttle there. Don't want to push it too much, so you will just loop it so well or drifting around the corners like Lucas has in practice. So I think I did two a couple times just with him and just have fun with it.
Absolutely. Alrighty, Chris. Once again, congratulations on your number two finishing position once again. And we will look forward to seeing what you can do out on the dirt of Eldora.
I know, I hope I could do well there too.
Alrighty, Chris. Let me throw you back up. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a moment here and take a look at your race results. Let's get that pulled up here real quick for you. Your race results is sponsored by Logan's Removal Solutions. You have Lucas Edwards in that number 87. Race winner Chris Roberge in that number 9. And followed by Dan Atkins in the number 91 machine. Dakota LaRue finishing off strong in that number 4 spot. And then Ron Fitting rounding out your top 5. Jordan Novak, Jordan Martin, Brad Quall Sr., Jacob Van, Jeffrey Engel round out your top 10. Matthew Stern and Cody Majoric will finish out your field for this evening's event. What an incredible run these drivers had. Let me make just a couple extra adjustments here as Chris 40. Yes. As Chris Robarge, he did lead the most laps today, which will be some more bonus points for him. Let me update that here on my end before we do show your championship standings. There we go. Most laps led. That is a extra 3 points for Chris Robarge. And that number 9. Robarge, where you at? So he will also get there he is. So he's going to have 5 bonus points on top of what he has made today in the championship standings. Perfect, perfect, perfect. let's go ahead, send the data through, and we will now share with you what your championship point standings should look like. Dan Atkins, according, if my calculations are correct, he will still be your points later with 600 points, uh, while finishing in that number 3 spot, followed by Dakota LaRue, Jordan Martin, Brad Quall Sr., and Cody Majoric falls back to 5th after a very disappointing run here today at Indianapolis. Jordan Novak, Jacob Van, Kean Fry, he drops a couple as he missed out on today's race. Lucas Edwards does move up with that race win today up to that number 9 spot. And Eddie Hawks falls back to that number 10th spot, as he also missed this race today. We did have quite a few of these drivers here in the back miss the race. But as you can see in that 17th and 18th spot, you now have Chris Roberge and Ron Fitting making their way up through the standings. And then you have Johnny Berardi finishing out your top 10 with Billy Wise at night. I'm sorry, top 20 with Billy Wise in P19 there. Uh, Andrew Deemer, Stephen Kiefer, Matthew Ball, Matthew Stern, he's gained a little bit of points here today. Um, then Christopher Williams, Christian Bosclair, David Marinsky, and Derek Brown will round out your field in your championship standings. Remember, next week we will be going to the the dirt of Eldora Speedway. Here is your schedule